beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Come on, bienvenue. Welcome once again to Modern Sales Meltdown with David Chernick, and of course, yours truly, Gareth, the man of many hats. Wax.
Yo. What'd you get for Christmas, by the way? Have you got any Christmas stuff from your clients?
Yeah, well, I've got some. Well, a lot of our friends are pagans, so I've got some sort of end of year and solstice stuff, and I've got a few cards from people. I've got some silly presents. A friend of mine knitted me a hedgehog, I think. Bizarrely.
Knitted you a hedgehog?
Yeah, and it's full of sand. It's stopped the door moving. It's good.
My clients get me booze.
I teetotal. So what's the point?
Yes.
Let
me say. Can I show you one thing that I got, which was very impressive?
Yeah. Go on.
Mind.
Oh God, here we go.
Can we have 2001: A Space Odyssey music? Dun, 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 dun.
It's a pile of boxes.
It is. It's like a sort of a stack of stuff.
What is it?
It's got like it's eating stuff.
Food. Yeah. I got sent a big, quite large, bigger than my head, box of cheese.
That is large. Box of tea.
Cheese.
Oh, cheese. Oh gosh.
I got sent 5 sachets of different ground coffees separately to that, and I've also received a big long box of Hotel Chocolat.
Oh yeah, I remember those days when they first came about. We were taking pictures from marketing agencies, and almost all of them, and there were half a dozen of them, sent us increasingly large boxes of Hotel Chocolat boxes. It was like that's the rage that year.
Quickest way to lose teeth, I think. It's there's lots and lots of different nutty and otherwise chocolatey stuff in it. It all looks what they say in the trade, reassuringly expensive.
Yeah,
it's what it looks like.
Yeah.
All right.
What are we talking about?
Well, today we're talking about not coaching. So not selling. What's it? Hang on. What did you say? Not selling, coaching.
That's right.
Right, but it's interesting in a world where loads and loads of people who used to work in the training facilities of corporate companies who have set themselves free, or dare I say it, been set free, and then declare themselves to be coaches.
Oh yeah. But that means that. I mean, the where I was getting with this is people are very worried about describing themselves as salespeople or describing their activity as selling.
It has got a certain stigma to it.
Of course. Well, of course it has, because there's, people have become long in the tooth. They've had experience of being sold at, had sales done to them. And they,
do you think there's any mileage in, I've been in sales for years, so therefore that makes me better at closing?
Look, experience is definitely part of it. However, I was talking to somebody week before last who does like advertising sales, really, you could say, selling off the page advertising space in publications, which is a very different business now to what it used to be. You used to have banks of salespeople bashing the phones trying to flog advertising space in various trade mags.
Yeah, but they're still doing it. I mean,
well, this outfit is still doing it.
I get massive amount of people approaching me on LinkedIn, offering me a massive sales boost by appearing in their magazine.
Yeah.
Would I like to appear on the front cover? Would I like to appear on the back cover? Would I like to appear as
and there's various flavors of it. I mean, I had somebody, it might have even been yesterday, who was trying to flog me an interview.
Yeah, I get this all the time.
They go, you know, we're going to do an interview, and the fee is, I think the last one was like $99. I'm like, is that me paying you $99 or you paying me $99? Because my rate is $595 for an interview. So, you know, they didn't reply.
No, well, I say to them, I charge £200 to do an interview, and they said, but we're charging you like $199 for an interview. I said, well, you won't call it quit.
As part of, I mean, it's part of your marketing. It is a service that people provide, but the point here is that that there's a great sensitivity amongst people who are selling to not want to see themselves as a salesperson, because they don't want to be tarred with the same brush as the toxic persuasion salespeople of old, right?
The stigmatization of salespeople was really achieved in the 80s and the 90s.
In the 80s and 90s, exactly.
Through the telephone pressure sales.
Yeah, and nobody likes that, and nobody, you know, if they're self-conscious enough, they have enough self-awareness, nobody wants to be that person. Now, I mean, I take a different view. I'm very, very happy to self-identify as a sales professional, but I'm doing it in a different way, okay? And I'm doing it in a more progressive way, a modern way. However, if you don't want to be that person that does the persuasion sales, then what real sales is all about is coaching people. Yeah, I mean, the idea is that I'm involved in selling a service, and so I've done countless transactions in this particular service, as in sales consultancy and sales coaching. And if you are an accountant, you have got countless experience of closing deals, winning tax clients, winning company accounts clients, advisory clients. But the buyer of those services has got very little experience in transacting those services. I mean, you know, how often do you change accountant? You know, probably not that often. So you might do it every 3 years.
Get away with, I think, is the answer.
Yeah, or change bank account, or buy a car, or anything like that. No, you know, you don't do it that, or recruit a new marketing agency.
Oh,
you don't do it that often. Okay, so you're not as used to it. And so if you are buying it from somebody who's going to help you through that buying decision, and you've learned how to trust them, and they've cultivated trust with you, they are then putting themselves in a position of a coach. So as a salesperson, you have an opportunity here to coach people on how to buy your service.
Right. But the problem is, the problem is, with a coach, you tend to be saying, oh, go on, you can do it, you can do it. But you're not necessarily.
Dude, that is like the equivalent in coaching as your toxic persuasion salesperson of the 80s and 90s is to sales.
Oh, absolutely. But whether or not you denigrate it in that manner, it still exists. And on top of that, most of the time, the people who are doing that coaching, I think, are not very self-aware.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's good and bad coaches, right? And just as there's good and bad salespeople, there's good and bad LinkedIn marketers, there's good and bad accountants, there's good and bad at everything. If you want to be good in sales, then you want to be good at coaching people. And coaching is largely to do with listening and helping people reflect on what they've said themselves and providing some accountability, and showing them a pathway, a tried and tested pathway to achieving their goals. You know, those are the sorts of things that we do in coaching. It's running a process, a tried and tested process. You know, so at the beginning of a sales meeting, and I try and get all my clients to do this, but what I do is I tell them what the process is going to be. You know, we're going to have a conversation with consent, with your permission. We're going to have a conversation about, you're going to tell me the sort of stuff that's keeping you up at night. Yeah, what's the background? What are the issues? I want to hear about the problems that you face in trying to deal with those issues. I want to hear what you would say in an ideal world it would take in order for you to solve those problems. And if I have the solutions to those that you are looking for, I will tell you about those. And then we'll agree if there's enough value for you getting the stuff that I have. Whether or not you think, aha, I can see now how having that is going to help with that. And then we agree a plan. And that plan will include things like being able to demonstrate to you that the thing works, show you some social proofing, you sending me your agreement that if we were to sign something, you'd agree to those terms in the business, you getting your internal buy-in. Yeah, you sending me your, I don't know, specification.
Right.
You know, a whole load of different things. By the end of that plan, there'll be a contract and then onboarding and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to be coaching people through that. And if I have that.
So the benefits of coaching people as opposed to classic selling is you're not really putting your size 10s in the back, the small of their back, are you?
Not exactly. I mean, it's none of this is done without consent. So, for example, you know, regular listeners to this or people that know me in real life know that I kind of have a bit of an obsession with something called Krav Maga, self-defense, a self-defense system. Now, and we train with each other, and it's hardcore training, and you know, we're coaching each other. Really, you know, if we want to doing a routine last night, for example, where we're, you know, bashing the hell out of pads, trying to concentrate on our form and, you know, different sort of defensive techniques for a particular kind of attack, and it's knackering, yeah, and we want to fight to the end, you know. In self-defense, you can't just like make it a 3-minute round. You need to carry on going until you can get out of there. Whatever the consequences, you need to drain every last drop of your energy, spirit, fire, strength, form, technique, everything until you've got literally nothing left, right? And we've usually got way more in us than physically it feels like, okay? So it's like a big mental thing. And we're coaching each other to do it. You know, you've got more in you. You can do this. And so, yes, I know you it sounded a bit glib, if you don't mind me saying, when you say, come on, you can do it. It's not really like that. It's helping people achieve their potential, right? And often they have got an inkling as to what their potential is, but it's difficult to achieve. And I characterize it in the same way that, you know, a lot of young people these days want to get the sort of the big muscles, right? Now, we know how to get big biceps. It's lots of this kind of exercise, right? But there's 2 reasons why the people that want big muscles don't have them. It's because either they're not doing that kind of exercise, or, and it's sometimes and, or, they're not optimizing that exercise, you know, tucking their core in, their elbows, keeping locking in position, you know, isolating those muscle groups, or however you do it. I imagine it's something along those lines. Right, but somebody who is coaching you, watching you, checking that you're doing it, knocking on the front door when it's pissing down with rain outside, saying, come on, let's go for a run. You're paying for this. I'm here. We're going. You know, so as a coach, yes, sometimes there is a forceful angle to it, but it is with consent. You want it. The same goes for sales as well. So, you know, I'm not going to be putting my boot in the back of somebody that doesn't want it. But if somebody wants some help in buying the services that I am providing, then yeah, I'm going to do things like give them a decision to make. As we know, one of the big reasons why people don't go ahead with their buying decisions because nobody asked them for the order.
Wow.
Give them the decision to make. Tell them what's involved. Tell them how it's going to feel when they're doing it, how it should feel, what to expect, what's on the agenda. Yeah, how to make sure you're going to optimize the purchase for yourself, how to get the best deal, what to look for. You know, make sure you check my reviews because it might not be for you.
Wow. So it's well, if you think about it, it's kind of different from the way in which coaching is normally presented. It's
I guess. I mean, I am a coach, so I spend my life, you know, doing these things. I'm coaching people how to close deals.
Yeah.
So, that requires...
Is it different when you're coaching a group of people as opposed to just one?
Yeah, there are differences. Look, in my business, we do both, and there are differences. And in fact, one of the big differences when I'm coaching a team, as opposed to, well, there's a few different ways that we will coach a few people in one go. One is if I'm coaching a team of people who all work for the same business, so a bunch of directors or their sales team or something like that. And there, the idea is to help them create the accountability network between them. Yeah. And to do things like give them a common language to allow them to do that.
Right.
I'm actually just about to start doing a group sessions for people from different businesses. But the idea, again, is to provide that sort of networked accountability and support as well. So yeah, it is different. I mean, I don't have any qualms about grabbing someone by the scruff of the neck. Somebody just asked a question on my LinkedIn, actually, in reply to a post that I did this week. How do I make sure that people follow a sales process? And there's a forceful aspect to that. If you want me to help you follow a process, then I am going to be ringing on your door as agreed at 6 in the morning when it's pissing down with rain outside, saying, "Come on, son, get your trainers on."
Well, look, if that hasn't inspired you, I don't think anything will. So, look, thank you very much once again, David, for your beautiful iOS-based antics, and of course, inspiring us not to simply sell, but to coach as well. So, until next time, I thank you, David.
Ciao, ciao.
And to you, those of you watching, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and remember, look after that mental health. Bye-bye now.